everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome, and if you are new, thanks for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. I hope that you are all doing well. Today it's a nice day. The sun was shining, the skies are blue, sun's starting to go down now, but it's a heck of a lot better than the deep freeze that we have been in. So today on this nice sunny day, I thought I would do another episode of reading All the Bookshelves. I started this series last week and it was a lot of fun. Basically what happens is that I have numbered all of my shelves that I have so far, or all of the book compartments I'm calling them, and then I spin the Bookworm Adventure Girl wheel, and whatever number it lands on, I show you all of the books on that corresponding shelf and talk about them a bit. So if there's any that I haven't read, then the plan is that I will put at least one, if not more, of those books on my TBR for 2022. So it's a bit of a mini bookshelf tour and a way for me to read the unread books on my bookshelves that sometimes, kind of get left behind. You can check out the first episode where I introduce the series and I explain it a little bit more. I'll put up a card up top for you to see it. Before I go ahead with the spin for today, I wanted to make a comment about a couple of books from the last shelf that I showed. The last spin was shelf 14, and I showed 18 books on that shelf. Two of them were poetry collections by Gwen Benaway. And I described Gwen Benaway as a Canadian poet and as an Indigenous trans woman. And I did that because that's the description on the books of the author, and that's what I've known about Gwen Benaway. And Lindy from Lindy's Magpie Reads commented on the video saying that there had been a controversy and that it turns out that Gwen Benaway is not Indigenous. So I had no idea of that controversy, and it happened after I had read those books. So I looked into it a little bit, and it turns out that Gwen Benaway was called out on her claims of being Indigenous by other writers, and she hasn't been able to show any valid evidence to those claims. And Book Hug Press, who is the publisher of the two collections that I showed, they no longer list her as one of their authors, and I don't think that those two collections are available through them anyway. So this is very unfortunate and really disappointing, but I wanted to say, that I'm not promoting someone who is falsely representing themselves as being a voice for the Indigenous community, under false pretenses. It's not cool. So thanks again to Lindy. I appreciate you letting me know and making me aware of this. So now let's spin the Bookworm Adventure Girl wheel and we will see what books we're going to look at today. Okay, here we go. Give it a spin. And it looks like it will be 36. Okay, so number 36 is the top shelf of the last column on this wall. Which means that it's a classics shelf. All of my classics books are on the top of each column. So we will be taking a look at this shelf here. There are 12 books on this shelf, and I will have to get the stepladder because I can't actually reach the top shelves. So let me get those books down and then we will chat about them. So I will do what I did last time and talk about the books in the order that they are on the shelf from left to right. And the first 4 books on the shelf are all from the Canterbury Classics Word Cloud Fiction. These editions are beautiful. I love the look and the feel of these editions, and I'm slowly acquiring them over time as, time and space and money allow. The first one is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, and this is one of my all-time favorite classics. It's such a whimsical story in many ways, and yet it has some, heavier themes in it as well. I have read this book a couple of times, and I have several editions of it. And these editions just have quotes and words on the cover. Maybe you can hold it closer. Character names, things that are meaningful to the stories. And then on the back, each one of them has a quote. And the quote on this one, it says, "The secret garden was what Mary called it when she was thinking of it. She liked the name. And she liked still more the feeling that when its beautiful old walls shut her in, no one knew where she was. It seemed almost like being shut out of the world and in some fairy place." They also have these beautiful end pages. They're just stunning. So these are just a beautiful collection. Next up is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. I've read this, but not since I was in university. I took a course, children's literature course. So this might be a good book to do a reread. And again, you can see the quotes, off with their heads. We're all mad here. It aims the Mad Hatter. Queen of Hearts. I think the White Rabbit is in there. And the quote on the back of this one says, "It flashed across her mind that she had never before seen a rabbit with either a waistcoat pocket or a watch to take out of it, and burning with curiosity, she ran across the field after it, and fortunately was just in time to see it pop down a large rabbit hole under the hedge." And I'll show you the inside flaps. Again, are beautiful in this. And this one has illustrations. I'll show you a few of those. The illustrations are actually all throughout the whole story. They're all in black and white. Okay. Next is Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. This edition is translated by Constance Garnett. I haven't read this one yet. I believe I've started it once or twice. So this is still on my TBR. And I like how this one has the quotes and names kind of in a spiral. Let's see if you can see that. And the quote on the back of this one is, "What if man is not really a scoundrel? Man in general, I mean. The whole race of mankind. Then all the rest is prejudice, simply artificial terrors, and there are no barriers, and it's all as it should be." And again, it has beautiful end pages. And then the fourth book is The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo, and I love this edition. I love the feel of this cover. It's a bit different than the others. It's so lovely. And the words that are raised on this one, where the other ones, the words are actually indented. So this is a book that I haven't read, but I am quite interested in it. The quote on the back of this one says, "Whether this young girl was a human being, a fairy, or an angel is what Gringoire's skeptical philosopher and ironical poet that he was, could not decide at the first moment. So fascinated was he by this dazzling vision." And this also, like the others, has beautiful end pages. The next book is from the Canterbury Classics Word Cloud non-fiction editions. And this is 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. This one also has a different feel to it. All of the quotes and characters are in the number 12 here. And the quote on the back says, "So we passed, handcuffed and in silence, through the streets of Washington, through the capital of a nation, whose theory of government, we were told, rests on the foundation of man's inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." And the end pages for this one has a map, and I'm guessing that's Solomon there. I haven't read this yet, but I do know the story, and I am really interested. It's high up on my TBR. The other thing that these editions, I didn't show you this in the others, that these have, which is really neat, is that they all have a symbol on each page that is meaningful to the story. So this one has the violin, but there's others that have different things. So these editions are some of my favorites of my entire collection, and I do hope to continue adding to it. The next 5 books are from the same series. These are published by Arcturus in 2019. And all of these have beautiful slip cases. And their covers are stunning. I'll show you this one. This one's Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, which I have read probably around the same time that I read Alice in Wonderland in my university children's literature class. And again, the end pages for these are just the prominent color of the book. So in this case, purple. And they also have illustrations. The illustrator for this one is Lear Salaberria. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Here's some of the illustrations. These just seem to have like a whimsical appeal to them. The next one is The Secret Garden, which I've already mentioned how much I love this one. I've read this classic a few times. The cover, again, is just stunning. And the inside green for this one. The illustrator for this is Louisa Uribe, I think is how you say it. I'll show you some of those illustrations. I'll show you another one here. Another one where Mary's in the garden. Here's a slipcover for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And a really neat cover. And the illustrations in this one, I believe they're the original, yes, by Sir John Tenniel. So these are the original illustrations. And they're in color. Show you another one. Oh, they're not all in color. Let me see, where's the black and white one that I just saw? Here we go. The next one is The Wind in the Willows, which I feel like I have read this, but maybe not. Like, I can't tell you the story. All I really know is that it's about animals. Animals are the main character. Here's the cover of the book with the lily pads and dragonflies. And this is illustrated by Tiziana Longo. Has some lovely illustrations. I'll show you another one. So this is one that's definitely on my list to read, because if I did read it, I don't remember the story at all. The last of these editions is my all-time favorite, the Canadian classic Anne of Green Gables. So this is the slipcover. Anne of Green Gables I have read so many times, and I have editions from all over the world of Anne of Green Gables. I have some in Spanish, some in Japanese. At some point I will show you that collection if that's something that you are interested in. Just let me know in the comments. The illustrations from this one are also by Louisa Uribe, so it's the same one that did The Secret Garden. I've always loved Anne. Here we go. So those are the 5 books from Arcturus, and I believe that that's the only 5 that they have. I could be wrong, but it's the only 5 that I've seen. So if you know of others, please let me know in the comments. The final 2 books I picked up a little bit more randomly, but I think that they are just really neat additions. And first is The Complete Alice by Lewis Carroll. This is published by Macmillan, and I just love the cover and the red sprayed edges. It's more than just the Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. In the table of contents, it lists all these really neat things that it has. If I can find it here. It has the author's preface to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland in 1897, and then Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It has Christmas Greetings from a Fairy to a Child in 1867. to all child readers of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland in 1871, an author's preface to Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There from 1897, Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There, and then The Wasp in a Wig, An Easter Greeting to Every Child Who Loves Alice from 1876, and The Story of Alice and Publisher's Note. So this is just kind of has everything. Alice, it has a red ribbon so that you can keep your spot. It's just a really neat edition, and I'll show you some of the illustrations in this as well. Again, these are the original illustrator. Here's Alice. And it's a very heavy book. Just, here we go. Here's Alice and the rabbit. So this is a great and fun edition for Alice lovers. It has all those little extras thrown in, and it's a really, I don't know, fun and thoughtful edition, I guess. Lastly is the illustrated classic of The Secret Garden, and this is published by Miles Kelly Publishing, and it is illustrated by Beatrice Castro, and I would say that this is perfect for younger readers who might be more interested in the pictures themselves. I will show you some of the pictures. In a lot of cases they take up the entire page. In some cases I think it's even both pages. I'll show you if I can find one that's both. Here we go. Here's one that's both pages. So the illustrations in this are quite striking. This is an abridged version, but it's really, I think, more about the pictures, which is why I think younger audiences would like it. So those are all the books and the classics that I have on shelf number 36. There are still a few that I need to read, and I will put maybe a couple of them on my 2022 TBR. Please let me know if you have read any of these classics, or if you have these editions, or maybe you have a favorite edition of some of these. I would love to hear about it. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.